everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. We're for you. I'm your host Avantika. September is celebrated as Self-Care Awareness Month, and today's episode we have an amazing guest with us. Her name is Eddy and she's a Nigerian who resides in India. So we talk about what it has been like to shift to a whole new country, living alone, being with loneliness, homesickness. What self-care means to her, and what are the certain strategies that she incorporates to make sure her mental health, stays well. And we get into a really interesting conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I can't wait to hear back from you. So let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Beautiful you. I'm your host, Avam. Today, we have a very special guest with us. My name is Eddy Diong, but she prefers the name Eddy. She's the host of the podcast Deep Convos with DD. She started this podcast because she needed an outlet to share relatable ideas and also educate herself, not just herself, but so many others. She's from Nigeria and she moved to India when she was 18 years old for education. Currently, she's in her final year, majoring in BTech Computer Science and Engineering. When she's not podcasting or studying, you'll find her watching movies, singing, writing, reading a novel, or playing around with some designs. She strives to achieve a lot as a person and wants to give back a lot of value to the society and her parents. She believes that the world is her oyster, and I so agree with it. Welcome to the podcast, Eddy. It's my pleasure to have you on the pod.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Of course, yeah. I'm so excited to have this episode recorded and dive deep into the conversation with you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's like it's an early morning recording, so a little tired, but apart from that, everything's good. I'm really here with you right now. So
Yeah.
the episode, could you share a little bit about your background and what motivated you to move to a different country?
Okay, so as you rightly said, I'm Nigerian. I come from like a typical African home where my parents are Christians. I mean, that is, if not the second most populous religion in Africa. My educational background, I had actually started going to school in one of the universities in Nigeria, but there's this thing where the association of students, that's like the entire body that embodies the universities, different institutions, under the federal government of Nigeria, they go on strikes, warning strikes, strikes that could be prolonged for 2 to 7 months to a year. And that was like a basic challenge in the education system in Nigeria. So when I had the opportunity to come to India, I'm like, why not? And then when people heard that, oh, India, India, why? Because Nigerians have a certain notion that, or maybe India is not as developed because, they see it, they just see like India in the bad light. But when I had that opportunity, I was like, okay, I'm not going to spend maybe 7 years for a degree that I would have gotten in 4 to 5 years, because that's how it could be prolonged. But that case, I had to come over here to study, and I do not regret it actually. So yeah.
So you're telling me that a degree that the education that would take you about 7 to 8 years, it would be about 45 years in Nigeria?
Actually, the reverse. A degree that you're supposed to have maybe in 4 years could take you 5 to 6 years or 7 to get, because of how disorganized the education system is.
Oh,
This only applies to public institutions. There are privatized universities where you could get your degree as soon as you can. But
what prolongs the delay in it? Is it the strike, or is there anything else that prolongs the delay?
basically the strike, it all revolves around the strike. The unwillingness of maybe the federal government to adhere to the terms and conditions that this body chooses to go with. So it takes them time to banter about what they want and how they can like settle their scores. So it affects the students, the time that they're taking to agree on whatever price they need or whatever agreement they're supposed to come to. It takes too long sometimes, and then it affects the students. So that's why some people are being held back. So instead of getting a 4-year degree, you're getting maybe 7 years. Then imagine if you're doing medicine. Medicine in Nigeria is 6 years.
Yeah.
So if you're in a federal university, it could be like more than 6 years just to get one degree. So it's, yeah.
That's a lot of years. That's a lot of investment of time, energy, and efforts. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Change can be, a lot of times it's a trigger for not just stress but also anxiety. So, and moving to a country is definitely a huge change for anyone. So, how did you prepare yourself mentally for the transition of moving to a new country, and what strategies did you use to cope with like the initial difficulties that you face?
Okay. So, how I prepared myself, luckily for me, in my high school, I had been to a boarding school. So in the Nigerian system, I mean, if you've been to a boarding school, a public boarding school, your mind is somehow set to leave home for quite a while. So that was my preparation. I'm really glad about that. That was like an early preparation. Because if I had been at home and attached to my parents, maybe it would have been a lot harder than it was to adjust to come into a different society. Yeah. And I think one of the major challenges I had faced when coming to India was the language barrier. But I mean, I'm not really one to step out. I mean, I had to learn like the basic phrases, things that we use like every day, which would like make it easier. And somehow my English is very perfect. If I want to say not perfect, perfect, but you'd have to adjust your literacy to that of the layman's, especially like if you're communicating with locals. So I had to break down, instead of maybe speaking high proficient English, you'd have to like narrow it down to something they would understand. So that was also like that's like something I had to pick up while here. So yeah, that's been able to like help me. Also learning a few phrases, it helps, chalo, acha, how, all those little things.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. What's a common Hindi phrase that you use on an everyday basis?
Acha.
Acha. Okay.
Mm.
That makes sense. We use that pretty common as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I completely agree with you. Language barrier in itself is just a major like if you if you're able to get the language barrier across, your life would be so much better and easier. And there must be some idioms and phrases that you use in Nigeria, but in India we have like no idea what that is, and vice versa, right? So learning
Yeah.
that and adapting to a whole new culture with their own traditions, it's definitely a big change. And living alone in a country to a whole new country, that brings up feelings of homesickness or loneliness as well. So how did you go on building a support network for yourself to maintain your mental well-being?
Um, for the first few years, months, it wasn't easy. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the connection you had with people who you were familiar with, missing maybe like home food, just the society where you grew up with. I mean, it was a bit tough, but I have always been in and I'm like someone who wants to be alone. So actually networking with other people wasn't like the it wasn't an initial, you know, response for me. It wasn't something I did immediately because I like the idea of being alone. I like the idea of doing my things myself and like minding my business. But as time went by, as time has gone, you definitely have to like network with other people, people of the same interest, people maybe of the same continent. So college made that easy. and then like social media. So I would say like, okay, using social media as a support, I don't know, something to support myself. And then like the people I met at school have been like really great help. So even when I'm not at home, there's certain people that once I sit with, there's certain people that, okay, once I'm with, I feel like at home with them. I have a few of my friends that came from Nigeria with me, so that made it really, really, really easy for me to like get along because exchanging phrases that you're familiar with. Because if you do not practice, those phrases that you grew up with, over time you tend to forget what they are. You tend to forget those things and adapt to the new system. And I don't mind that, but I also didn't mind that my friends from Nigeria are here. So we have slangs, we have colloquials that we exchange that like keeps me happy, kind of like keeps me going, gives me that sense of homeliness and terms like that. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. I am glad that you had some people with you from back home that would give you a sense of homeliness and just be there for your support. And yes, using social media for building network, that's a good one. Finding support there, university and college
Yeah.
also networking, that is so crucial because sometimes your tribe finds you, sometimes you find your tribe, you find your community,
Yeah.
sometimes you need to put yourself out there. So yeah, I love that. So September is essentially self-care awareness month, and in this episode, I just wanted to understand what self-care means to you and delve deep into your self-care strategies. So to begin with, what does self-care mean to you?
It's just taking a selfish time off for me. It's self, obviously. So me being selfish with myself because most of the time I go about wondering how other people feel, trying to be there for other people, trying to do things, whenever someone needs me, I try to be available at the earliest moment. So self-care would mean just taking time off from every other person and like not giving a care in the world at that moment in that particular time frame and just focusing on me and my needs and what I feel I want to do in that moment, what I want to eat, where I want to be, how I want to dress. So I would say self-care is basically that for me.
Oh, I love that. What are some of the self-care strategies that you developed over time while being in India?
Um, okay. So I've never been one to, I'm not really, or I've never been, I mean, prior to now, girls go. You know how most girls maybe take their self-care time to skincare, hydrate, maybe do something with their hair, their nails. I had never been that person. I've never been a femme woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
But coming to India and like discovering myself because you do not just think like you know yourself over time. So when I came here, it felt different. At some point, I'd start feeling like, oh, maybe I have to do something about my skin. So once I got more involved, and I'm still in the learning process of how to take care of my skin, skincare is part of my self-care routine, painting my nails, maybe having extensions on, doing something fancy with my hair because this is my natural hair right now. So maybe if I'm feeling it, I just add some extensions just to make myself feel more beautiful, not for the perusal of any other person. This is just for me, obviously. But my and the most important form of self care for me is sleep.
Oh my
I
God.
love my sleep. I love my sleep. I do not joke with it. So that is like also inculcated. Sometimes I go to the spa. Sometimes I meditate too, but all of those like are all incorporated into my form of self care. I also dance sometimes.
What form of dance do you
I've seen
Oh, one
for dances.
I have seen your hair. It looks amazing. It looks gorgeous, and every time you come up,
Thank you.
girl, that girl is glowing. So, yeah, I love that. And sleep, such
Thank you so much.
of course, and sleep is such a crucial self care practice that people don't often talk about. But oh my god, I need to start incorporating that. Running on 4 to 5 hours of sleep every day is not it. So yeah,
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So, coming from Nigerian culture and living in India, it's been what, about 4 years that you're,
Yeah.
yeah. So, do you see any differences in mental health in Nigeria and India, and how similar or how similar or different are those, like differences? How similar or different is mental health in these countries?
Okay. So I've come to the conclusion that the black household and the brown household are similar in so many ways. Is I see memes and like reels on Instagram, and I'm like, I mean, like on the Indian side, and then I'm like, this is something my mother would definitely do. This is something that, so there is so much similarity between the brown household and the black household. And when it comes to mental health, at least from my friends and from the people that I know, it's almost the same thing because um, you're not allowed to do certain things because you're still under your parents. There's certain beliefs that these are our parents have because they're more traditional. So maybe when you bring up the talk of mental health, it doesn't even resonate with them.
Mhm.
This is not something they're used to. So if my mental health is deteriorating at home, nobody would be aware because I already know what their response is going to be like. I already know the measures they're going to take. Like I said, my parents are Christians, devout Christians. So if there's something bothering me and I feel like maybe I want to share with my parents, I don't. I definitely hold back because maybe their response is going to be, oh, you have to pray about this, don't give the devil a vote. But sometimes it's more than that. And I have friends who have complained about the same, Indian friends who have complained about the same. Oh, my mom doesn't do this, she's not always there. You know, it's not like, oh, all these issues stem from maybe spending too much time on your phone. Meanwhile, it's more than that. There's like definitely like more issues like hidden behind the whole. Sometimes people press their phones too much. They spend so much time on their phones to escape reality. They spend so much time on their phones to, escape whatever it is that's going on in their head. But being in a household, in an African household, it would seem like, okay, you're wasting your time when you could be doing something else. You could be praying, you could be reading. But mom, sometimes I don't have the energy to read. Sometimes it's not just there. So I would say when it comes to the issue of mental health, um, Indian and African, I mean, at least I speak for myself, it's similar in so many ways. And I don't think it gets talked about a lot. It doesn't get the recognition that it's supposed to because so many people go through different things and they wish they could, say it out to their family, but the fear of what they're going to say or how they're going to react has held them back and made them, make certain decisions that somehow in the end the parents get to regret because at some point, I'm getting old now. At some point, you hear your parents say, "Oh, I know her. She is my daughter. I gave birth to her," but they don't know anything about, the things that have gone through your mind for years because they've always been present, but not actively present. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So mental health is the similarities between the Indian and Nigerian is very, 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 very almost 100.
It's
It's 100%.
No, I agree. I was in contact with some people from Nigeria as well a while back, and I would see the way that they were, brought up, and the way that mental health is given importance to them. It's so similar to the Brown household as well because it's just not acknowledged. They like you said, they are present but not actively present. It's like there's no safe space for us to be able to talk about our emotions without fearing, okay, how's the other person going to react to it. It's always just,
Yeah.
we shouldn't we sometimes we just want to talk about it and just want to be heard and not worry about the other person's reaction or response to it. We just want to be sometimes. And
Yeah.
the black and brown household, both of them don't acknowledge mental health enough. So, do you think that it has gotten any better ever since you moved to India? So maybe, how they say distance makes you fonder. So has that worked in your case?
The truth is, even if they strive to, try to be involved, way too gone to actually want to open up about whatever I'm going through. But I mean, our communication is better. It's definitely better than when I was back home. And like the perfect relationship with black or brown parents is long distance. I'm telling you. So if you want to feel some type of homeliness, it's better you do it from a distance.
Yeah,
But no, if like they decide to try and be involved, I don't know, I wouldn't, be open to that because I mean, we had years of my teenage life to try and waddle through these waters. But now I have learned how to handle things on my own. Why do I need to tell you now? Why is there a need to, involve you now?
right.
Do you understand? I don't really, it's a really sore area for me to go to, honestly.
Of course, and I appreciate you opening up with us on the podcast. And yeah, I'm very proud of you for handling everything because moving to a new country, living abroad alone it never gets easy, honestly. And I've seen the work that you've done in the last few months, and I see the way that you carry yourself, and I'm so proud of you. So
Thank you so much.
so okay, I have to ask if you could bring one Nigerian tradition to India, what would the food?
That's tricky.
I mean, that's not tradition, but yeah, I've heard Nigerian food is too good, can't be missed.
No, it has to be the food. Eh, definitely the food. Definitely. I think Indian deals with spices. You know how someone is like, oh no, this is too spicy. Come to a Nigerian household. Like what? I don't even like consider the spice level of India to be, spicy at all.
Really?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I could
So it would,
Nigerian cuisine then because I can't even deal with like the Indian spice. So
yeah.
yeah, fair enough. It will be an experience.
Yeah.
So for someone who is moving to a new country and wants to continue with their self care journey, what advice do you have for
You have to prepare yourself for days where self-care will even be enough for you because somehow your self-care routine and the idea of self-care is connected to your mental health. So there are days when even if you want to, you wouldn't feel up to it. You have to prepare yourself for like whatever comes. And whenever you have the energy, because like determining to do anything, you have to build up the energy, you have to muster up the courage. So whenever you feel like go all out, I don't mind spending a lot of money to make myself feel better if I'm having one of those down days. So you have to like make sure you ignore every other person's like comments. There's going to be a lot of comments in the crowd that, oh no, you're doing this, you're doing too much maybe. You have to focus on yourself. You have to be mentally prepared for maybe like what other people are going to say because it's a different society. So of course, maybe there's going to be like other opinions, but you have to make sure that yours is the lead. You have to make sure you do not allow other people's voices to overshadow yours. Yeah.
don't need other people's voices overshadow you? That's very profound advice. I love that. So but we are coming towards the end of the episode, but this is like a non-negotiable. I have to ask, what's your most favorite thing about living in India, and what's your least favorite thing about India?
Okay. I love that people are homely. They're always ready to help. And sometimes you don't even have to like pay them because how I grew up, sometimes it's an exchange. If you help me out, I give you money. If you do this, I give you money. Or I do something in return for you. But the feeling of homeliness is felt right here in my heart for the Indian people. At least the people I've met in my city, they're very nice people. So it has to be my favorite thing about them, the willingness to help a stranger out. regardless of race, color, height, all of that. My least favorite thing. Am I allowed to say this? I don't know.
Is Eddie about to be cancelled? Let's see.
Okay. So being someone of my stature and size, and then my body shape, everything about me, um, mostly the Indian men tend to sexualize a lot. So if I'm going to say my least favorite thing is being sexualized just because, my physical appearance. If only you knew what was up here, then maybe. But, the moment they see you, there's like weird stares. I've had the weirdest DMs since I moved to India than I've ever had in my life. Weird contracts that they want to, it's just a whole bunch of weird stuff from Indian men. So I would say like the least favorite thing is like being sexualized just because I'm like, the way I am.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
to hear that. I'm sorry that that happened, and I hope that it stops eventually. Like that's an awful experience to go through, and no one
Yeah.
going through any of it.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I'm sorry. I apologize
Yeah.
on behalf of everyone because yeah, girl, it's not fun.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And is there anything that I missed out on that's perhaps you wanted me to ask?
Um, my favorite Indian,
Your favorite Indian?
my favorite Indian cuisine.
Oh, what's your favorite Indian cuisine?
I mean, I haven't tried a lot, but chicken biryani.
Chicken biryani. Oh my god. Have you tried mutton biryani? I'm a
I've tried only one time,
okay.
only once, and I don't know if I liked it. Maybe the particular place I had it wasn't nice.
Okay, makes sense. Chicken biryani is oh my god, I love that. I'm personally a bigger fan of mutton biryani. So just give it.
Okay, I'm going to try it because
Oh yeah, for sure. And then let me know how it goes. So yeah, where can people find you?
at first. Sorry?
Where can people find you?
Me? You can find me on my Instagram at Eddy and I. She's going to put it in the caption. It's quite a lot to spell out.
Yeah.
I'm very active on Instagram. Well, yeah. And my Snap too. I have everything linked in my bio. So it's like,
I'll be linking
yeah.
I'll be linking her Instagram, her she also has a YouTube channel and she has a podcast, so I'll be linking everything down in the description. And yeah, it was such a lovely conversation chatting with you. And
Yeah, thank you so much.
works, yeah. It was my pleasure to have you on the pod. And yeah, I'll see you on the other side. Can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
All right, thank you so much. It was lovely being here.
Me too. Thank you so much for everyone who stick through to the end, and I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow if you're listening to this on Spotify. Leave us a star, leave us a 5-star review if you like the episode, and do check out Eddie's work as well. So everything will be linked in the down below. You can find us on Instagram at @beautifulyou.pod. You can find if you're listening to this on Spotify, we also have a YouTube channel. You can check that out, and vice versa. And yeah, I would love to hear back from you guys about what you thought about the episode, and I hope you guys have a rest of the lovely evening, day, whatever time zone it is. Well, the time zones are so difficult sometimes to accommodate just putting it out there sometimes. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next episode. I love you. Bye.